You'll drop everything for a friend who's sick, but let them try to do the same for you, and something in you quietly shuts the door. Somebody offers to bring you soup, and you hear yourself say, "No, thank you, I'm fine. Don't trouble yourself," before you've even finished the sentence. You'd rather sweat it out alone than let one single person fuss over you. Being looked after is the thing you need most when you're sick, and it's the one thing you can't let yourself have. There's a reason for that. There's a reason being cared for feels harder than being sick. It started long before your cold did, and seeing it clearly is what finally takes some of its power away. So let me describe you back to yourself for a second. When you get sick, you go quiet about it. You don't announce it. You cancel plans with a vague excuse. You say something came up rather than telling the truth, which is that you're sick and you could use some help. And if someone does find out, you end up managing their worry for them. You say, "Oh, it's nothing. Just a little bug. I'll be back on my feet before you know it." You are running a fever and doing customer service for the people who love you. You even have a whole routine around being sick when you're alone. A specific mug, a blanket that lives at the end of the couch. Everything gets lined up within arm's reach the night before. The water, the pills, the remote control, your phone, so that later you won't have to get up and you won't have to ask. You can run an entire household flat on your back before you let one person see that you need something. You drove yourself to the doctor with a fever, shaken with 102 temperature, gripping the wheel at 10 and 2, like the concentration alone would hold you together. And it didn't even cross your mind once to ask anybody for a ride, because you would have felt worse about the imposition than about the fever itself. You even lie about how bad it is. Small lies, the kind that make sure nobody rearranges their day for you. And half of the time, you're not even lying. You've tuned out what your body is telling you for so long that you can be flat on the floor sick and be the last one to know it. Then somebody texts. They say, "How are you feeling?" And you type back, "So much better. Thanks for asking," with one thumb up from under the covers, sweating through your shirt. You've gotten so good at sounding fine that people believe you. And then some small part of you is quietly hurt that nobody showed up. Both of those things are true in you at the same time. The wanting them to know and the making very sure they never do. Because you know you'll get through it. You usually manage it well enough alone. And then you lie there afterwards, hollowed out, a little bit alone in a way that has nothing to do with whether there's anybody in the next room. Being sick takes away the one thing that usually keeps the loneliness quiet, which is being useful. When you can't do a single thing for anybody, when all you can do is need, you feel it. That low, strange ache of never quite being allowed to be taken care of. Maybe you're not even watching this for you. Maybe you're watching it because you love somebody exactly like this. Somebody who won't let you do one thing for them when they're down, who says "I'm fine" in a voice that obviously isn't. And it makes you a little crazy because all you want to do is help. This one's about them too. For most of your life, you've had clear words for all of this. Independent, low maintenance, and self-sufficient. You wear it a little like a badge, and other people hand it to you like one. They say she's so strong, she never asks for anything, so easy to have around. It makes a lovely story, but what it leaves out is the reason. What you've got isn't really a choice. It lives somewhere underneath choosing, in a place that doesn't ask you for a vote. Someone reaches towards you when you're low, and there's a flinch, a pulling back that fires before you've decided anything. Being cared for doesn't land on you as comfort. It lands as exposure, like a coat coming off in the cold. The flinch got there before you did, and something a lot older than this moment is making the call. There's a name a lot of therapists use for this. They call it hyperindependence. It's not a disorder, nothing on a chart. It's more like a habit you picked up back when leaning on people turned out to be the riskier bet. The deep wired belief that the only person you can really count on is you. so you had better not need anyone else. And being sick blows the whole thing open, because sickness is a need with nowhere left to hide. You can't push through a fever the same way you push through a hard week. Your body stops taking orders. It lays you flat and makes you want somebody. And wanting somebody is the exact thing you trained yourself out of a long time ago. You don't have to fix any of that today. Start smaller than that. Just watch for the moment it happens. The exact second that no jumps ahead of you when someone offers. You're not going to change it yet. You're only learning to see it, so it stops running in the dark where you can't reach it. So where does a kid learn that needing people is a bad bet? Usually not from anything that would look like abuse from the outside. More often it was quieter than that. Maybe you grew up in a house where nobody was necessarily cruel. The care just wasn't reliable. Some days it showed up, and some days it didn't. And you never knew what you'd get, so you stopped reaching. Because putting out your hand and getting nothing back hurts worse than never trying at all. Or the care came, but it came with a price. You could be looked after as long as you paid for it afterwards. There was guilt, a mood to deal with, a week of hearing how much they did for you and how grateful you ought to be. So your small self ran the math early. Being taken care of costs more than it's worth. Better to need nothing than to have somebody who could hand you a bill later. Or you were the capable one. The kid praised for being no trouble at all. You made your own lunch. You knew which grown-up needed managing that morning. You kept an eye on the younger ones. Your value was in what you gave, never in what you needed. A kid who needs things is a burden. A kid who takes care of everyone gets to stay. That's a lot of weight for a 7-year-old kid. And you carried it so well that everyone forgot it was heavy, and you forgot it too. That kind of childhood does something specific, and it's both clever and a little brutal. Your system learns to switch the wanting off, not just the asking out loud, the wanting itself, the part of you that would turn to somebody when things got hard. It learns to go closed and self-contained at the exact moments most people reach out. Because of that, for you, is where it always went wrong. And the lower you sink, the harder it clamps down. The more you actually need somebody, the surer your whole system gets that you're fine on your own. Now here's where being sick becomes its own kind of hard, because your body has a plan for sickness, and it's the exact opposite of yours. Come down with something, and your body floods you with signals that pull you towards rest, towards warmth, towards the people who feel safe. That achiness, that childhood wish for someone to just take over for a while. That isn't weakness. It's one of the oldest survival programs you have. Researchers call it sickness behavior, which is just a clinical way of saying that when you're sick, your body wants to be looked after. So look what that sets up the moment you get sick. Your body throws the need for care wide open. And the wiring you built as a child pulls back just as hard, right on cue. Because being sick and small and depending on someone could be dangerous. Two halves of the same person going in opposite direction at the worst possible time. None of this means you're cold or that you don't care. If anything, it's because you feel it so much that letting someone care for you lands as too much. It's a coping mechanism you built a long time ago to keep yourself safe. A tug of war you never agreed to, and it fires hardest right when you could finally lean on someone. Somebody sets a glass of water and your pills within reach on the nightstand, the way you always do for yourself, and you take it, and you thank them, and you mean it. But you can't quite let it land. Part of you is already sitting up, already reaching to do something back, already braced against how much you needed it. Now you know why. So the next time it happens, that brace, that scramble to give something back before you've even taken it in, don't obey it and don't argue with it. Just get curious. It isn't really about the water or the person who set it down. It's an old rule firing on schedule, built for a house you moved out of years ago. And while it's loud, listen to the quieter thing underneath. That part of you that wants to say yes. It never left. You just got good at talking over it. Years ago, I got a serious diagnosis, the kind that takes a year or two to recover from. My family was there, and I let them, because you can't send away your family. But I keep my circle small on purpose, and the few friends I had wanted to be there for me. That was so difficult for me. They weren't doing anything wrong. They were doing exactly the same thing I'd do for them. I kept telling them I was fine when I wasn't, and I let those friendships go. No big scene, just excuses about why they couldn't come see me. When I got well, I could have reached back, but I didn't. It was just simpler that way. I'm not telling you that for sympathy. I'm telling you because I don't want it to be your story too. So once you can hear that yes, the next move is smaller than you'd think. You let one thing land, not everything, just one thing. And somebody offers you something small, whether it's the water or the ride, that can I just sit with you for a while? You say yes to that one out loud. And then the genuinely hard part, you just let them, without paying it back, without turning it into a joke, without keeping up the running apology the whole time. It's going to feel terrible at first, and I want you to know that going in, so you don't read the discomfort as proof you got it wrong. It's a rep. You're handling your nervous system one new piece of evidence. Somebody took care of me and no bill came. And you have to hand it that same evidence again and again before your brain starts to believe it. Because a rule that took years to build doesn't fall away in one afternoon, but it does fall away over time. And this is the part to hold on to because it's real and it has a name. People who grew up just like you, certain all the way down that needing anyone could be dangerous, can come to feel safe leaning on people anyway. The name for it is earned security. You can't force it, and you can't decide your way into it. You get it the slow way, one safe person at a time, by letting them show up and watching the old catastrophe fail to arrive. Not by pretending the past didn't happen, but by gathering enough proof that it stays gone. That certainty was never the truth about you. It was just the only evidence you ever had, and you're allowed to go get more. And you don't have to hand back the part of you that copes to do it. That strength is real. Being the one who holds it together, who shows up, who takes care of business, that's a good thing to be. The work is just letting the care run both ways for once. You spent your whole life carrying the soup in. Once in a while, you get to be the one on the couch. You spent a long time believing that needing people makes you a burden, that being looked after is something you have to earn first or pay back later. So when it takes hold again, that quick refusal jumping out before anyone's ever finished offering, pause before you believe it. Ask yourself one honest question. Is this me protecting myself right now? Or is this the old wiring still swinging at danger that packed up and left years ago? You already know which one it is. You're wired. Christina here. Thank you for staying with something this tender all the way to the end. It really means a lot to me. I made you a free quiz, and the link's down in the description whenever you're ready for it. It shows you how high your own wall goes and where, so you can look at the pattern instead of just living inside of it. It's a gift, and this time there's no catch. The next one I'm working on is about why an unexpected kindness can catch you in your throat before you even know why. If that's you, subscribe. And down in the comments, tell me about a time you let somebody take care of you or the time you couldn't.